Okay, welcome back to Comic Book Wednesdays, a weekly series where we talk about comic books. We're your hosts. I'm Ian,
I'm Al.
And I'm Shane.
and this week we are starting a new series. Al, take it away. What are we reading?
We are reading the Thrawn trilogy in graphic novel form, and it's awesome.
The drone is airborne.
Yes, sir. And to be more specific, we are starting with Heir to the Empire, the first book in that series,
He's number 5.
and we read the first 3 issues of that. So we're halfway through it because I think there's only 6 per book.
Yeah, I think so.
First thoughts, Shane. I want to get your first thoughts since you're
Sure.
new to this. Me and Al have kind of already read the story.
Okay, sounds good. Thrawn's brutal, and I'm all for it.
Oh
Yeah, he's a tough motherfucker.
He very much gives me the impression of someone who's always playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
Yep. Yes, he is.
And I like that.
I really wish I had reread the books before we did this comic, honestly, to compare. So, Ian, I want your input on so far the direction between the books and the comic.
Okay, so the story is the story. The story is cool, right? But however, the book goes into such more. There's a lot more detail in the book, and it's a better read. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna fully appreciate the story in this capacity. It's cool to see everything, but I feel like if you're reading the book, you get a better feel as to why this is the greatest or one of the greatest Star Wars stories out there. You won't get that same feel, I don't think, with the graphic novel. You'll appreciate it.
No, I don't think you will, but I think it'll still be really good.
Yes, it'll still
But
be really good.
yeah, I really, the books are, they're phenomenal.
They are phenomenal. Also, I don't know what the artist was thinking when they did this book, but Luke should not have a blue lightsaber. He should have a green one. In fact, that's kind of integral to the last book. So
Yeah, it is.
um, so it's kind of weird that they did that. It's a little bit of a fuckery up on their part.
Enemy down.
But I mean, as far as the story's going, I love seeing I love seeing everything. I enjoy like the whole Nagori aspect, like that hit squad that they keep on sending after the heroes. They're awesome.
Yeah, they are pretty badass.
They are. Shane, thoughts? Talk.
Just didn't want to interrupt. Okay, first, let me ask a question. Does this book... now, I'm going at this from, not having a lot of the stuff in the extended universe. I'm starting to get into that myself. But I notice in the first book, just kind of going in order, we have Mara Jade, who's not a Jedi, or at least from what I understand, she might not be, but she just hates Luke's guts.
Yeah, they explain it in the book why, but I don't know if they will in this as much.
Okay, can you help me out?
So she basically blames Luke for taking the Emperor from her, because she is the Emperor's hand, which is like his personal, just like, go do whatever I need you to do.
Okay.
Kind of person.
I don't think it explains it in the book this early.
No, I don't think it does either, but...
So you kind of just spoiled it for him, but in the same sense he did ask, so...
Sorry.
No, you're good. I've been listening to the I, Jedi book, and it kind of talked about that too, so I'm aware of that, so it's not a spoiler. I just wanted to make sure
they do
that
mention it in that. But, I mean, honestly, I probably should have sent you these 3 books before you read those, but I don't think it'll really, or Red Eye Jedi, I don't think it'll really affect you that much.
Okay. Okay, but that was my only like big question as to why, and like that makes sense because like it's a nice little subplot because the book, the first 3 chapters that we read really does focus on this, and I really thought it was interesting to just jump around a little bit. First, the artwork, like this is fascinating for me how they like colored everything, how they put detail on like all these different things. Like I think it's great.
I'm not a huge fan of the artwork in this book. I think it's cool, but it's just not my like. So the what was it that we read last that was like really good as far as the artwork? Like the Power Rangers was really good. There was something else we read that was like phenomenal artwork, and I can't. Yeah, that's what it was.
Batman.
Yeah, no. To comment on the artwork, I like the sets. They have a lot of cool like the a great in issue number 3. You see the tree in Kashyyyk for the first time. That big
Yeah.
panel. That's great. That's fantastic. However, I don't necessarily love the way the artist portrays the faces of the characters. I
Nah.
feel like everything's kind of elongated.
Thrawn looks really goofy to me in
He
this.
does look really goofy. His
But
face
I
is
mean,
like oblong.
from remembering like the story, I'm really enjoying what we're getting from it. It's just it's such a good story. Excuse me. And it's seeing it in picture and not imagining it is pretty cool.
Agreed.
I guess we're kind of like. Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to talk over you. You go first.
The reason that like I enjoyed it, and I think this is whenever I look at like classic sci-fi, this is what I picture in my head. So when I see this kind of art style, like yeah, I'll definitely agree with you. It's not the best compared to the other things we've read, but like this just to me is like, oh, this is we're gonna get into some retro classic sci-fi, and this is what I like picture when I look at that.
Right.
It's absolutely fair. I think that's a great way to put it.
Like let's see with.
Just gonna say something else.
I think it's gonna explain, and I know it probably will, but this is just me being curious. Will it, and I'm gonna try and phrase this as broad as possible, will it explain, as we get into it, Thrawn's motivations? Because automatically, I'm really fascinated with him as a character, as not only just what he's been doing in the Empire, but one of the scenes that really sets it up very well for me is, let me see if it's in the first book. Yeah, it's in the first book, and it kind of echoes all the way through like the third one, where he's like looking at this art thing, and he's just like, "Oh, are you a fan of art?" And he's like, "No, no. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are we talking about this? Like we're currently being attacked, and there's ships in orbit, and like we should be focusing on that." And he's like, "No, no, we shouldn't. We'll focus on that in a minute." But it just shows his like battle strategy as a commander,
Yeah.
with trying to be all of these steps ahead, and then going all the way to the third book towards the end of it where Luke tries to get out of the way of the Star Destroyer, and he's like, you see, what he doesn't realize that he just killed his lightspeed drive or whatever. He killed his hyperdrive, and he's going to be dead in the water here in a little bit.
Yeah. So
Immensely powerful character.
yeah.
But I wanted to know, like, for the third issue, as they're kind of going in, like, doing the things that they're doing, is like I guess that was my like kind of key question. Will it get into his motivations in the stories that we're reading?
like as far as like what makes him want to do what he's doing, or like
Yeah, for the Empire and all that.
I don't remember.
Okay.
so we'll talk as we go. I think they kind of he doesn't have any like deep motivations as far as like what makes him do what he does, and I think as we
Hmm.
read that'll become more apparent. Um, however, he is a battle tactician, and like he has like so much going on at once, and he is always 5 steps ahead of everybody. And I think we're going to enjoy seeing that how things unfold because it's like seems like every step of the way, Thrawn does something like, "Oh, well, as you see, like it took him 4 minutes and 39 seconds, and that means 3 people changed over, and he's like Chewbacca and Leia are going to Kashyyyk, and he like knows everything that they're doing before they do it,
Spotted
and
the Sicario
it's
leader.
actually
Kind of
fantastic.
skittish. Feel they're spreading a little fear.
So we'll see a lot of that. But as far as like motivation goes, I don't, I can't say for that like they get too deep with it.
Okay.
Um,
When you wake up,
No,
I
that's
want you to
totally
tell
fair
your
because
friends
like
how we bled through
he's
the open
just
dirt here, how you
he
railed
gives
for your
this
mama,
like
and I want you to tell them
impression.
what's coming for them next.
Yeah,
Understand?
one of the comments that he made that I actually saved was he was talking to one of his subordinates, and I think he said something along the lines of, "Oh please, my ego is not as frail as Vader,"
Tough guy.
Yeah.
and like that was like, oh okay, like
yeah,
you know that you hold all the cards, and you're not afraid to let people know that, but you're not letting it get to your head either, which is a really interesting quality to see in villains. Because I mean, a lot of villains are like overturned by their ego, and like for him to just set himself up as this like insanely, high intelligent tactician, it, I'm already interested.
yeah. Like in my opinion, like Thrawn basically wants to make the Empire its like peak like
Hmm.
potential. And it's basically the whole vibe you get is if Thrawn was at Endor, everything would have went shit. Like
Yeah.
the rebels would have lost, and he is really that good. And if you're enjoying the Thrawn character, watch Ahsoka. You're gonna see some Thrawn and Ahsoka that just started.
Watch Rebels first if you're gonna watch Ahsoka.
It, yes, Ahsoka is a spiritual successor to Rebels. It's basically an
It's Rebels
additional.
season 5.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting so far.
Well,
Um,
Dave Filoni has full on admitted that it's Rebels season 5.
which
That already premiered, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
it premiered last night.
last night at 9 o'clock. I watched the first episode already. I absolutely love the show. Um, I'm a sucker for Rebels, though. I think that's my favorite Star Wars content that's out. It's Rebels. I just love the characters.
It's so good.
It is. It starts off pretty cheesy, but then like you get like midway through the first season, and you're like, wow, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I have watched a bit of it, Rebels, but not consecutively, start to finish.
Yeah, you should definitely watch the whole thing. It's worth the watch.
Okay, I'll do that before I watch Ahsoka.
It goes fast. There's a lot of it. There's 4 seasons, and some of them are like 20 episode seasons.
Oof.
But they're 30. They're like 20 minutes apiece because they're like cartoons.
Oh, right, so you can just burn through them quickly.
Yes, exactly. Um, they're good though. You'll enjoy it. You get a lot of Thrawn towards the end of that.
He now works for the cartel at Pilka, some kind of mine.
You get some Nagori stuff in there too, I think.
Yeah, with Rook.
Rook, yes, the same character that is in the book.
Got some questions for you, asshole.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing is, just go back to the art real quick. I really don't like the way they drew Han. I think they got Luke down pretty well, but Han doesn't look like Harrison Ford to me, and I don't know if
In
there was.
some of his shots, he looked like Harrison Ford to me. In others, he did not. So I can understand what you're saying there.
Yeah. I think they got Leia okay.
See, I feel like she's worse than Han was.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of the 3 issues, what did you guys like? Was there anything major that stood out that we haven't touched on yet, or anything like that?
No, I think they were all like really good as far as that.
As far as like story points, we didn't talk about Sabath yet, and he's a pretty big character. The Jedi Master
Yeah.
Sabath.
Yes. That's true.
So
I actually enjoyed his character in this. You know how he has that overconfident, like I'm a Jedi Master. I don't need you. This is give me what I want, or walk away or die.
yeah, the first time I was reading his character, I was like, you really see like how much the evolution of a Jedi Master has happened and like what Jedis can do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because in this one, they talk about how a Jedi is key into organizing battle strategies and how they can coordinate battles, light years apart. And that's not something you really see in the new canon. So
No.
that's fascinating to me. Um, and also, he's very asshole-ish. And a lot of Jedi's kind
Yeah.
of like,
Well, I think
like
they explain that later, don't they?
they do. There's a nice twist with his character. However, it doesn't. The twist doesn't completely excuse his assholishness.
Right.
And we'll talk about that when that happens. And I don't think that's something we get in the first book. It'll probably be in the second or the third.
Yeah, him, because like I said, I'm taking this from like a I don't know anything kind of perspective. Him being the kind of like dickhead that he is, the thing that like kind of set up a red flag for me was when Thrawn was explaining like, yeah, we're with the Empire, this is what we're doing, and he's like, but you can we'll give you Luke and Leia, and you can mold them however you want to mold them. And then he's like, "Yeah, I'll help you." And it's like, well, was that a very Jedi answer? I don't think that was a very Jedi answer for you to be that excited for that.
Right. And something they talk about it a little, but they don't touch on it that much. Is he's very into having to ruling people. He likes to be a ruler.
Yeah.
The planet he's on, they like look to him as like is like almost like God. He's more than their king.
Well, I mean, he could shoot lightning out of his hands, so he kind of is a god to him.
Right. Exactly.
God, that reminds me of the evil Jedi in Fallen Order when you're on Dathomir.
Yes.
Yes, it's very similar. It's very similar. He might be inspired by him, honestly.
I would say he probably is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Filoni is adapting this story pretty closely, or he's trying to at least. So we might see a character like this in either Ahsoka or his Heir to the Empire movie that is coming.
Oh, I forgot he was doing a movie.
Yeah, I think it might be 3 years by the time it comes out.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. And my suggestion to you is start Rebels.
Yeah, definitely.
If you haven't watched Clone Wars, I also
Uh-huh.
suggest watching Clone Wars.
I
However,
have watched Clone Wars. I'm not that much of a pleb, I promise.
okay, you watched the final season on Disney Plus too.
Yes.
Have you watched the Bad Batch?
Not all of the Bad Batch yet, no.
Okay, Bad Batch is
That's not as important, but
It-
it does reference Mount Tantus, and it is worth a watch, I think.
So, if I'm going to suggest a watch read order for you, read
Please.
this, watch Rebels. When we're done the books completely and you're done Rebels, Ahsoka, um, and then also watch Bad Batch after that because there's some spoilerly stuff for this book within the Bad Batch. So
Hmm.
Um, but when you're watching the Bad Batch after reading this, you're like, oh, I know that reference. I know that name. Um, also,
Okay.
if you're watching Mandalorian, the latest season also had some references to this book that got me really excited, like character name drops, and um, so if you haven't watched that yet, you'll appreciate it more once you're done the books.
It seems like they're really all trying to connect everything together.
Well, I think they're trying to make this story as canon as possible. Because it's like we said, it's one of the greatest Star Wars stories, if not the greatest.
Yeah, it really should have been what we got instead of the garbage we did.
Yeah, it's a really good story. Though, like, and I'm gonna say some controversial stuff. Filoni has been
Mhm.
quoted saying in conversations with George never considered the books canon in his own head, which I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
he
insane.
said okay to him. So as far as I'm concerned, that makes him canon.
I know, but as far as like George writing stuff, if
Well, yeah, I mean, but
he would
George
always
also hated the idea of Marge 8.
yes.
So, I mean, like, he lost the rights to his universe when he said, okay, yeah, you guys could write these
Oh yeah,
novels, you
he
know?
wanted to get paid. He got paid for all that shit.
Yep, I know.
So, yeah. Oh, shit. But yeah, guys. I'm glad we're finally reading this. I think you're gonna enjoy it, Shane. Um, well, I think you would enjoy the books more. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely think you would. And I definitely think you should read them. You know, I don't think you should just stop at this. But that's just me. I'm a fucking Legends ridiculous all over the place, you know?
you're a little gung ho with it, but I appreciate it. They're good stuff. It's good stories.
Well, you know, it's like Transformers for Shane, or you know, like whatever. It's just, you know,
Yeah, it's
it's my
passion.
thing. It's my niche, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect
No,
that.
I totally respect it.
A funny moment that I absolutely love, and um, so the in the book, they explain that when Leia talks to this Wookiee, it's like the female Wookiee on Kashyyyk, and she can perfectly understand the Wookiee speak. She can understand the Wookiee speak really well. In the comic, it
Mhm.
just comes through as English, of course,
yeah,
rather than Chewbacca's like. "Mah." Um, and it's because this female Wookiee has a speech impediment that she can understand her, and I think that's hilarious.
yeah.
So
I'm
Leia,
glad you explained that because I heard that and I was like, speech impediment? What?
yes. So it's not really explained too well in the comic, but holy shit, it's so funny. Bless you.
Thank you. It's
Yeah,
my
I
Wookiee
mean,
speech impediment.
there you go. Curious to see what Jazzy has to say about this. So I hope he's reading along. He's gonna try to record with us next week, and I hope that he um, listens. That way he has an idea. Um, this is a test. If Jazzy, if you're listening to this, I want you to text me at this moment. if I do not get a text message from you, I'm going to assume that you did not listen.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah. Text Alex also. Just spam him with a bunch of text messages because he doubts you.
I find your lack of faith
Disturbing.
disturbing.
There it is.
Got eyes on Perico's former bodyguard. Let's talk.
Yeah, I've said my fill on this. Does anyone else have any final thoughts?
No, I think that wrapped up pretty nicely for me.
I'm excited for the next couple of books because I think it's gonna dive in really deep, and you guys are really gonna enjoy it.
Sweet.
The end of this book, so the next 3 issues we read, so the end of Heir to the Empire, is fantastic. So get ready.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal book.
Yeah, you get some more Mara Jade stuff. So
And Talon Kirtle and a bunch of really good characters come out.
DJ Perico's former
Absolutely.
bodyguard.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening. We appreciate your time. Comment, subscribe, do all the stupid internet stuff. Again, we're your hosts. I'm Ian.
I'm Al.
And I'm Shane.
This is Comic Book Wednesdays. Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
Good night.